We won't, if everyone can say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks for having the flag in the background. Okay. Then the first item of business, I'd like to delay until the applicant can be present, and also because I need to recuse myself from that item. So we'll go ahead with item B, which is design plans for an addition, exterior remodel proposed for 185 East Campina Drive. Jason, can you give us a review?
Certainly. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, board members. The first item tonight that we'll take on the agenda, 185 East Campina Drive. I just first want to make sure my volume is good. Can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes.
Good. Okay, great.
Yes.
All right. So, of course, the applicant seeking approval for an expanded garage and a new detached rear covered patio. So I provided in the report a street view of the house, and then the perspective elevation change, somewhat wider until you get over to the garage section. So the new proposed addition to the home includes an expanded garage, which will increase its capacity from 2 vehicle stalls to 3 stalls. The doors will now be front facing. So if you look at the elevation now, you can see I think the slump block wall there with the 2 narrow windows. That's actually the side of the garage. But what they're going to do is they're going to extend to the right side of that elevation, as you can see in the illustration below, to have a single car bay and then a double car bay garage with carriage style doors front facing. And then also in the front, you'll see a courtyard, kind of like a front patio, appears to be uncovered with a settee. Those are going to be proposed in the front, but it looks like for the most part, most of it's remaining somewhat unchanged. And in the backyard, if you keep looking down on your staff report, if you're looking at it electronically, just scroll on down, you'll see that they're going to do a really large detached accessory structure, a detached covered patio for the back. And they really sought to complement the architecture of the home by using light materials, colors, and even a pitched roof with the shingle tile on the top of that. So that will be in the rear. And staff finds that they've taken some extra care to respect the architectural style and finish of the primary residence, has a high quality appearance, and will be a nice addition to the neighborhood. So with that, staff's recommending approval of the application, subject to the exhibits provided by the applicant, and with the standard condition of all colors, materials, and finishes shall match those of the existing residence. Be happy to answer questions.
Okay. Do you have the applicant on the meeting?
Yes, I'm on. This is Pat. Yeah.
Do any of the board members have questions for the applicant or for the staff?
Yes, Susan, I would have a question.
Go ahead, John.
Thank you. You're showing this backyard covered Ramada. We don't have a site plan as far as where is that in the whole scheme of things. I'm not sure I see that, Jason.
It's on the sheet A 0.1.
Board member, I have the staff report with the embedded exhibits in front of me. I don't have I can pull the site plan up if you'd like. I'll have to check my packet.
There's a site plan.
Yeah, there is one in there.
Council, Board Member Romack, I can actually share my screen if you just give me a moment to pull it up. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah, I'm not showing any site plan, so.
You scroll down your packet to the actual application materials, maybe, not just Jason's review.
I'm in the packet right now. All I have is the front elevation. Am I the only one that has a problem with it? Then it won't. I'll defer to everybody else. But
I don't know if you get me, I won't be able to see mine. It's going basically in the rear, here, which way is,
I'm gonna share, I've got it pulled up, just give me 1 second. Now, it looks a little light because it's probably a scan. So don't be blinded by the screen. I can see the light coming off my face. But you can see in the back, you'll see the master bedroom down here and then the patio back here.
So the one thing we are talking about is we thought it was a little bit big. So we are in talks with shrinking it slightly, but they haven't finalized any kind of, basically the same thing. It's just, it's not gonna be any closer to the house or closer to the back wall. But that initial, when they prepared all this stuff, after we sent it to you, we're like, that's huge. So it's probably going to be something closer to, I actually have a revised plan I can email you if you'd like.
Yeah. Excuse me, Chairman Czarnecki, and I apologize, I didn't catch the size of that patio cover. It is detached, and therefore the maximum size is 500 square feet. So the size will have to be reduced.
Okay. What is that? So that's,
it's approximately 100 square feet larger than it's allowed. So right now you're proposing approximately 600 and change on the square footage. And you'll
Okay.
need to bring it down by at least 100 square feet. So it sounds like you're moving in that direction. What are your current dimensions on the one that you have drawn?
we're going to 16 by 20. So we'll be at 320 square foot.
About half the size, okay.
Yeah.
and it seems more appropriate for the backyard size too.
Yeah, it was way too big.
Any other questions? Regarding
I have a site plan and I could, I've got it actually queued up where I could email it to you right away, what it'll look like smaller. I'll send it to you either way.
and the front materials is all going to match existing, the roof is going to match existing.
Yep.
Susan, John here. It would seem to me if he's gonna cut that down to the size that he just mentioned, and it's gonna be down less than 400 square feet, I personally, I don't see a problem with this. I think it, everything that's going forward looks good to me.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns? I'm not seeing everybody again.
I don't have any questions. This is
Okay.
Rachel.
Would someone like to make a motion?
Madam Chairman, this is John here. I'll make a motion that for our 185 East Campina Drive, based on the drawings that we've been provided with tonight, I would say that we would approve this subject to the changes on the backyard detached covered patio, that it be something in the range of 350 square feet. Other than that, I think it's all good.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did you get all three of us? Yes.
I did. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on. The next item on the agenda, I see design plans for an addition exterior remodel proposed for 305 West Campbell. Jason, you want to give your review on that?
Certainly, thank you, Chair and board members. The applicant seeking approval for a new master bedroom, bathroom addition, and detached accessory structure at 305 West Campbell. You may recall the applicant for this project initially came to the Board of Adjustment with a request to get a variance for a similar version of the proposed addition. The item was continued until which point they could provide a request that would be better supported by the board. However, since that time, it appears that they were able to revise the plans and not require a variance. And so instead they can move forward with just coming before the design review board. They've also spent some time to give us some more details about other improvements they'd like to do to the home. It appears that they'd like to do some front yard landscaping improvements. The rear yard addition is the master bedroom and bathroom addition has been revised, and the workshop that is back there is now detached from the main building. I think, as I recall, it was attached, at least the first proposal. So they've changed that. There is a light trellis treatment that's connecting the two. Pam, I was going to discuss this with you too. I want to make sure with Mary that we're clear from a building perspective that the nature of the trellis connecting the two buildings doesn't make it constitute a single primary structure again. I think we may be fine, but I just want to make sure that the trellis doesn't bring it into main building setback requirements. Because I've worked with other buildings in the past where they've actually purposely added this trellis structure to attach it. Remember the Pointer residence, so that it wouldn't fall into detached structure guidelines. It would be part of the main building. So that's something that we should just double check. But other than that, they've done a lot of improvements to the plans. The application materials indicate that the home's exterior will also be repainted and the roof shingles will be replaced. So a lot of changes. If you look down below, you'll see the current front elevation to the home. So what they're going to do there, they'll paint, and I believe Mr. Williams is helping them with this application. I'll let him further elaborate, but they're going to want to repaint, reshingle, all the addition on the back. They're going to put the grass in the front yard. And if they could, I'd ask if they're willing to provide some additional details as to what they're doing with the front yard. Like something came up last time, I believe, with the tree stump out front, if they're going to be removing that. Maybe they can elaborate on that. But otherwise, they don't have to do a variance anymore, and we'll support the application subject to the exhibits provided, if they could just provide the explanation on the trellis and the landscaping.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Is the applicant online?
Yes, ma'am, I'm right here.
Oh, okay. So the question is the trellis that connects the detached shop and the main body of the house.
That was more just for aesthetic purposes. It can go, it wouldn't break my heart if it wasn't there by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay, that because what it does is it ties the structure together, and I think also you've got a fire code. You have to have a 10-foot separation, and you can't them with anything like that.
Yeah, that's not a problem. We can just X that out of the plans.
Well, is it an accessory structure? If it's not attached to the home, there has to be a 10-foot separation.
And there is, the trellis structure was put in more for aesthetic purposes, just to kind of
Okay.
thing together aesthetically, not necessarily physically. I wasn't aware that that wasn't allowed. Like I said, it can easily disappear off the plans, and it's okay with me. There is 10 feet
Okay.
accessory structure and the main house. That's why if you look at the shop, it's kind of shaped funny, is because our house is about an 18-degree angle, kind of east. So that's why the shop has that kind of that funky shape to it, as well as if you look at the plans, it looks like our back wall's not straight. It actually is, because the plans are drawn with the house at a 90, so that offsets the wall by 18 degrees.
If I may, I'd like to speak to the trellis that's there. It is in fact a trellis, not a building. The accessory building does have the code 10-foot separation from the new addition. And the trellis, as I said, has no roof. It's open on two sides. It's attached to both side walls of the building. One wall could be eliminated. There is no way that could be construed as an extension of either the accessory building or the addition. If the owner chooses to eliminate it, fine, but architecturally it was a device that was used to have a continuous line on the buildings.
Yeah, I understand. I think it's just not permitted.
Where is it not permitted, Susan?
For zoning, in order for that to be an accessory, it has to be a separation.
There is a separation, 10 foot.
But the trellis ties it together again.
So if I stop at 6 inches, is that Is that separated or what?
10 feet. It has to be a clear 10 feet around the accessory building from any other accessory building or the main house is the way I understand it.
But you're saying the trellis is a building, and that's not true.
No.
Chair, Chair and the applicant, just so to clarify, we're not saying that the trellis is a building. We're saying that it constitutes a roof structure connecting two buildings. So the issue that's come up is in cities, particularly in the valley, this technique has been used to actually connect buildings for the purposes of keeping the accessory building within as part of the main building so it can have greater height. In this case, it's just decorative, and we're going to run it past Mary in building. And if she determines that it's connecting the structures, then it'll have to be removed. If it's allowed to stay, I would suggest that I don't have an issue with it. It would just be coming down to the building code. And if they say it constitutes a connection, then it's part of the main building setback and it wouldn't be allowed.
I think in times past, we've also declared that a trellis structure has counted as a patio for other applicants.
That is,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
excuse
what you
me,
said.
that is correct, Susan. The trellis structure does count as a trellis. A structure with a trellis roof counts as a structure. So that is a structure coming off the main house, connecting to the accessory structure, which would not be allowed.
So if he takes off the trellis, his intention is not to put concrete there, but to put a garden there.
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, patio is nothing, it will be fine. That's a separate issue. And I do see on the
It's not a
site
patio, it's a garden.
or
Yeah.
garden, regardless of what's on the ground. And we're talking about the roof structure, but he does have the 10 feet between buildings, so he would be fine with that.
Does anybody have any other questions about the application?
Oops, sorry, guys.
Going to the question about the landscaping.
Yeah.
Totally re-landscaped the entire front yard. We have planted around 30 different plants, ordered 100 ton of rock, put in curbing, sprinkler system, drip system. All that was done about 4 weeks after our last meeting. The side yard, everything's completely taken care of. Stumps were removed. I went and rented a stump grinder, ground them all out. Can't see them. They're not there. Everything's rocked, landscaped. I think it looks pretty good. I could take you guys for a quick tour because I do have Wi-Fi if you want to see what I've done. That's up to you guys though.
Thank you. I don't think that's necessary.
I apologize. I thought that the application had noted grass turf in the front to match the back or something. That's I recall seeing it.
We had an idea of doing turf, but the way we actually ended up doing the curbing around the trees to create basin, it just wasn't feasible. I would have ended up with probably about 30 square feet, maybe 40 square feet of turf, and the investment in the turf wasn't worth what it was going to cost. So we just rocked everything, put in basins, 8-foot basins around every tree. Currently have ground cover growing in all of the basins. Side yard has like some zucchini growing in it, some melon growing in it, all that stuff. Front yard has like some creeping emus and some bottle brushes. So
Any other questions regarding the addition or the remodeling? Hearing none, would someone like to make a motion then?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that with regards to the design plans for the addition and exterior remodel for 305 West Campbell Avenue, that it be approved with the exception of the trellis as was noted in the meeting.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Do I have a second? Are you there, John? Did we lose John?
I think he's just on mute.
Unmute.
He's muted. You can see his lips.
Could I ask a point of order?
There you go.
On the motion, we're talking about the trellis between the new addition and the accessory building.
Yes, not the,
Yes.
not the other.
Okay, thank you.
Correct, yeah.
All right, I'll second that motion, Susan.
Okay, so a motion to approve with the exception of the connecting trellis to the accessory building. All in favor?
Aye.
John?
Aye, yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. Good luck with your project. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Looking good, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next step. Do we have Brian on or do we have a phone call into him?
What? I'm sorry.
Is Brian able to join us or to finish the?
No, he's not here yet. Why don't we go on to the next item and I'll see if I can find him.
Okay, so the next one is design plans for roof-mounted solar panel installation proposed for 417 East Sagebrush. Jason, do you have your review for us?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just one moment. I'm pulling up the report. Thank you. All right, so we have a solar electric project for 417 East Sagebrush Street. They're requesting installation of solar electric panels on the pitched roof of an existing single-level residence. As a reminder to staff, the board, and the public, there's 4 conditions that need to be met, in particular for staff to approve an item. If there's ever any indication that one of them is not being met, then the board has the purview to approve the application subject to conditions. So that's why this item is before you. So item A, the array shall be in a flat configuration and parallel to the roof plane, should appear as an integral part of the building. B should be configured in a regular quadrangular shape and aligned with the existing roof edges. It shall be positioned within the field of the roof plane with a proportional margin of roof between the panel and the roof edges. And the surface shall not be more than 10 inches above the surface of the panel should not be more than 10 inches above the surface of the pitched roof. That's to make it look nice and flush and tidy. And that's basically what's proposed here. If you look at the front elevation of the house, you can see it's a shingle roof, single level. And none of the panels that are proposed are going to be on the front of the roof. I thought I had an exhibit in here where you can see the panel array, but I may not have included it, but it's in your packet. You'll see there's two arrays on the back of the house. There's 2 planes on which they're placed. And the reason why the application is brought forward is that whenever we have the panels that are going vertically and then flipped horizontally, we typically will bring it from before the board because the pattern starts to lose the quadrangular shape that's generally desired. So we brought that forward to you. It looks like, you know, they could possibly have taken some of those panels and extended them to the right side of the array, but it would have given that staggered look as you follow the roof line of the intersecting truss. So that said, I mean, I don't believe from the staff's position that we think that would be a better solution. It would still give it that sawtooth appearance if it were to follow that roof line. So perhaps the horizontal orientation is better of the choice as proposed. Now, Pam did receive, and she's calling Brian, I don't want her to run back to her chair, but she did receive revised exhibits today from the applicant, and I didn't see a material difference in initially seeing it before the hearing between the array configuration. They may wish to just state, hey, what's the difference between what's in your packet versus what we got today? Just so I'm not speaking out of turn, but it looked the same to me. So that said, we are supportive of the application. I think it's in keeping with findings that the board has made in prior motions on these solar panels. And again, it is on the rear of the home, and it's more or less quadrangular except for the horizontal pattern. So with that, I'll leave it to the board. We're recommending approval subject to the standard conditions.
Is the applicant for this project here? I think I see, are you muted though? We have to wait for Pam.
I am here. He's on. This is Justin. I'm here.
Okay, you're here for the Sagebrush project?
I am, and so is Justin. Justin's the homeowner.
Oh, okay. The only question I do have is that on the triangular array, it does look like it goes clear to the edge of the roof, and I don't know if that's just how it's drawn or if there is a gap.
the 3-foot keep out that's required.
Okay. And it'll fit as drawn, because it looks like it's right at the edge.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The engineer who draws it up, he made sure that it's within the fire code though, so it should all have that 3-foot keep out, everything from the edges, the top and the sides.
From the fascia edge also, I think we require, I can't remember what, we require 12 or 18 inches. Yeah, you can see.
18 inches.
Madam Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
Jason, you had pointed out that instead of these panels going vertical like they are, to have it pick up more of the triangle. If you notice on the Google photos, there, it looks like there's either an air conditioner or cooler there. And so that would become probably, well, it would be problematic to change that array. So I'm thinking that array, the way it's drawn, is acceptable as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the rectangular one is fine. I was just curious at how close it comes to the edge of the roof.
No, I understand that Jason was pointing out about the triangular shape of one and the rectangular shape of the other. But I think because of the cooler or air conditioning,
Yeah.
that it becomes difficult to make that into that.
Thank you, Board Member Romack. I didn't actually check that. I just looked at the diagram. They didn't place the little square on it, so I didn't think to check for that right there.
Okay, yeah, you got it.
I got you. I understand now. Thank you.
No, and I think that the arrays, different shapes are fine because they're fitting within the parameters of that plane of the roof that they're on, and that's always fine with me. My only question was the proximity to the edge.
Right, and it's all to the back of the house.
Yeah.
So I can't see it from my house.
As long as it meets the code for the city, then I would recommend approval too. So
John doesn't live here with the pool.
Would someone like to make a motion?
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion. I gotta kind of pull it up here. The address is, just a minute.
417.
Yeah, for the solar array at 417, come on, I'm getting there. 417 East Sagebrush. I think that based on the drawings that are provided, as long as they stay parallel to the plane of the roof, I'm comfortable with these and I would move for approval.
This is Brian O'Connor. I'll second.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Is that good? Okay,
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
And then the last, since Brian's here, as the applicant for the first item A, is she available?
She's in the meeting.
Okay. And then someone to take over the meeting while I need to recuse myself for this one item.
Can we talk to her? Can she hear? She's on? Okay.
Is it the James residence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I'm here.
I apologize. I guess I don't need to remain on any longer at this point. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
That's correct. Thank you, Mark.
She's in the waiting room? Okay, that's good.
Who's taking over the meeting, Pam?
Oh, good question.
Would you like to,
Would
Board
you
Member
mind doing
Romack? We'll help.
We need to be moving along.
We'll nominate you. Or,
I'll get this
that'll
going.
work.
Well, you're the only one
That's all right.
unmuted, so we're going to nominate you.
Yeah.
You're too good. I'm gonna get back at you. Moving ahead, although Chairman Charnetsky has to recuse herself, we are on the next item of 1096 North Ora Vista. Jason, you want to give us a report, a staff report?
Yes, thank you, Chair. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my staff report and we can kind of read along together now that I'm getting even more familiar with the screen share with the meeting. So the first item that was on the agenda, coming back to it now, is 1096 North Ora Vista Drive. The applicant seeking approval for an attached garage addition. The picture below is at least the Google Street View that was current at the time Google took the picture. You can see there the existing side entry garage right there behind the trees where the double arch windows are. And then over here on the left, you can see the car that doesn't have a garage yet. And the proposed garage is going to be the request by the applicant. So the proposed additions on the left side of the home. So it's going to be in the back here behind the existing double right turn-in garage. It'll be perpendicular to some livable space that's in the back. You can see the floor plan and the site plan within your packet. That new garage space will be attached to the side of the home. It's important to note that the property does back to the golf course, but there's mature vegetation on the home. These large trees, I'm not sure if these are mesquites or what, but they are large mature trees that will help somewhat obscure the new addition. And the new garage will have somewhat of a deep setback. So it'll be beyond this driveway where the car is, and it'll be situated right here where you can see right there. So I've shown the proposed elevation down below. You can see that the garage door on this addition will be front facing. There will be coach lights on either side. The decorative banding will be carried over onto the addition, same roof line. More or less all of the same elements that you find on the existing residence will be carried over to the addition. So it will look fully integrated. It won't look like an add-on, which is always our concern. So that said, I don't believe from what I've seen that there's really any discernible indication that the new garage would look any different than the rest of the home or look like an addition. So we're we're recommending approval of the application subject to the exhibits provided and the standard condition of all colors, building materials and finishes shall match the existing residence.
Good, Jason. Thank you. Is there any other comment from any of the applicant, first of all?
No comments, just it's going to be attached, and I believe we're within the guidelines, setbacks and whatnot. So I don't have any other comments or questions.
Okay, anything from first of all, Brian, thanks for joining us on this one. Rachel, do you or Brian have anything you want to add?
I don't. I reviewed it earlier. To me, it seems like a no-brainer. It adds, I think, appeal to the house, so I'm all for it. So if there's no other questions, I'm happy to make a motion.
Actually, I just have a real quick question. So it looks like on the rear elevation, is there a garage door planned on the back side also?
Yes.
I was just curious kind of what the materials were going to be planned for that door.
What type of materials?
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering, like, is it going to look like a standard garage door there facing the golf course, or is it?
Yes, just it'll just be a smaller door.
Okay.
But it'll be the same material as the front.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Rachel, does that satisfy you?
Yeah. Thank you.
Ryan, you want to go ahead and make a motion?
Yeah, I move that we approve the applicant's requests based off of all the items that Jason pointed out, and I'd make a motion for that.
I'll second it.
Second.
I'll second.
Rachel, will you second it?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, looks like we approved that, and now I can turn this meeting back over to Susan.
I'm sorry, you
Good
guys.
job.
Can I step out again? I'm sorry that I missed it tonight, but I have other things I got to do right now. So is that okay?
Perfect timing, Board Member O'Connor. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, is Susan headed back into the meeting?
She's back.
Oh, good.
There's,
Unmute her. There we go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so back to the agenda. So we have, the last item is the design plans for exterior remodel proposed for 1310 North Villanueva Drive. Jason?
Yes, thank you, Chair. One moment. All right, just making sure I'm not muted myself as I pull up the staff report. 1 second. I'm scrolling down. All right. Chair, board members, the application you have tonight is a little unique. I'm going to go through the details here. 1310 North Villanueva Drive. The applicant is seeking approval to enclose their existing 3-car open carport. In your staff report, I've included a street view of the home. It has kind of a light red salmon color slump block exterior with a tan shingle roof. You can see in the picture, it's got a really long, wide open carport. Driveway with looks like decorative pavers lining the left side of the driveway. And then they have a large mesquite tree in the front. The home has white or off-white shutters that appear to match the carport columns. And the applicant, we did just get the drawings, I believe, gosh, I think it was yesterday. So that was why our report was a little late in the day. We were kind of trying to make sure we could accommodate the applicant and getting on the agenda. So I kind of went through what I could make of the drawings. We understand that they're looking to enclose the carport and use, instead of the slump block, they're looking to change material to a wood frame construction with a board and batten siding rather than the slump block. They're proposing to use same size windows to continue the existing kind of window pattern across where the windows, the new windows would be. If you look at the home's windows, they point that out on the, I put it on the staff report. You can see they're kind of standard size windows. They're going to propose those there. And then they're going to reorientate access into the garage from the side rather than the front of the home. What we would like for the applicant to do is we need more information. Perhaps, I'm not sure if it means a more complete application or a lot more details before staff could really make a recommendation or support it. We'd like to know from the applicant, to what extent have they searched to match the slump block to the home rather than using the siding? It's going to be an abrupt material change. A long face of the home will be a different material rather than, can they do something besides using board and batten? They note on the plans, this is a screenshot of a partial of the plans, but they note on the plans that they have an intention to paint the entire home white. We're not certain if they're going to paint the slump block white, and then what's going to happen to the white shutters if they do that. And then if they are going to paint the home white, then we don't really have to worry about the concern of color matching the older block. Then they just find similar size block and, use the block for construction so you keep the same material type and texture. And then also lastly, what are we going to do with the driveway? I don't have a plan that shows how the driveway will be recontoured to provide side entry access to this newly enclosed garage. We typically don't want to see a driveway stay in place and pull right up to the front of the house. It looks kind of like somebody enclosed a garage or a carport that way. We usually like to see everything kind of pulled up, recontoured, landscaped, so that there's a softer edge between the broad side of the front of the home where there's no garage door and paving. So there's several open-ended questions, and I believe, if the applicant can elaborate on those, the board will have a better picture of what this may look like. And with that, I'll just turn it over to the board again. I'm sorry, I don't have a recommendation for you. I just feel like there's too many open questions.
Okay. Is the applicant on the meeting?
I am. Good evening, board members. My name is Eric.
Thank
I
you.
am new to the neighborhood. We just purchased the home on Monday, so we are jumping through the hoops here, and I appreciate you getting me on this evening's agenda. I do like the recommendation to continue the slump block elevation. We're going to wrap all 3 sides with that. I have obtained the material in a a like size and texture material. It will be painted. The existing block and the new block will all be painted. The color is called Moonshine White. And I will provide a more detailed cut sheet if you guys need additional information on colors. So that was the big item, to source the slump block material to match the elevation. So I agree with that. I think the other comment was the side entrance driveway and approach. And it's going to be a secondary application. Again, we've only been on the block a few days here, so I am anticipating a side entrance driveway, possibly a horseshoe drive. So yes, part of that driveway will need to go away. I understand the curb appeal with the driveway going nowhere. I would just ask that we were given a little bit of time to utilize the driveway under construction until we're able to get the circle drive in place and submit that for your approval as well. And there was a mention of the shutters. Again, we're in a little remodel phase on the interior right now. We have removed the old cracked and broken shutters. We would love to delete those with our new finish elevation, with the white finishes that we are proposing. We would like to also propose a black window. Longer term objective would be a darker color roof to kind of tie in those elevation finish and changes. With the size of the windows, they are tall 72-inch windows. We would like to maintain that wide ranch elevation across the front. And again, that design is just something I kind of plugged in for 3 windows to kind of stretch the ranch feel of the home.
Any board members have any comments regarding that? So your intention is to remove the shutters on the main portion of the house?
Correct.
Okay.
Can I just clarify, did I understand correctly that, so you're saying the board and batten is out and you're actually you have a slump block material to match?
Yeah, I have to agree with the recommendation. Looking at it, I want to incorporate some board and batten details, perhaps on the gable ends above the garage entry. We can incorporate that and lose the T111 that's currently there. And again, if that's another recommendation that I need to submit on, I will. But yes, slump block's going to happen on all 3 sides of it.
Madam Chairman, if I may. Jason, good job. I think you picked up a lot of my concerns about this remodel. I would say that slump block, the board and batten doesn't work for me to bring in a texture like that. The shutters, if we get rid of them, if he's going to paint the whole house white, it's really a kind of a no-brainer. The one I remember when they added this carport, they enclosed a garage that was already there. I would question, or my question would be, they're already doing this job. Pam, did you give them a go-ahead to start this project?
I did not.
Okay,
I wasn't aware of that.
They've already cut the concrete. They're already working on the foundation. And be honest with you, as long as everything is according to plan and according to code, I don't have a problem. I'm just surprised that you would, as you just said, Eric, you moved here a couple of days ago and you're already doing the remodel before you have the permit. And that takes me back a little bit. And that would be.
Well, let me give you some history. I'm a general contractor. I've been doing this for about 30 years. I have reached out to Mary. We are in the permit application stages right now. All we're doing is demo. And right now, our new floor plan is in her hands for her blessing. This is just an immediate need because we have not moved into the home yet. We're in a rental right now. So we just want to get it safe and be able to occupy it as soon as possible. There will be nothing done without any inspections. That won't happen on my watch ever. So I understand your concerns and point taken.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem.
All right. Any other questions or concerns, clarifications that are needed? I'm not familiar with the white. I've had a few issues with some of the whites going on have been so white that they're startling and they're very reflective.
Yes, I am not a big fan of that. Moonshine White is almost a very creamy. Again, I will provide a submittal for your guys' approval. And yes, it's the dark window, dark roof, creamy white. I do a lot of work in the Arcadia Biltmore area, and it's very prevalent for the new farmhouse theme. And yeah, we're a big fan of that color scheme. Hopefully you guys will approve it as well.
Seems to be the trend.
Chair and board members, I was just curious, with the questions, I guess I didn't put another question, but I know you mentioned as the applicant that you mentioned you're thinking about redoing the shingle roof. What we've typically seen with I've been entertained by the color Moonshine White. Pam and I were trying to figure out if it actually said moonshine. Like, is that moonshine? But usually we'll see a charcoal pellet complement such a white color, unless it's a really creamy white to go with the tan roof. I'm not certain how long you're planning on keeping the tan roof with the bright white. It might look kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's on the roof. I'm not a big fan of the roof color myself. It's again, it's a work in progress. The charcoal color palette is on the menu. If I had to give you a timeline, I'd say within a year that charcoal roof would be on the list.
I guess as long as the color you're planning is okay with the roof color that you've got even for a year, that would be a good idea. If you can find a white that's compatible with both colors of roof that you're thinking, or both the existing and the new roof. I don't know if that's doable.
Agreed.
Okay. I don't have any exceptions to the ideas presented. I wish the plans were a little more formal, I guess, or clear. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns?
Well, Chair, if I may, from the staff perspective, since we don't have a recommendation, I guess I question if the applicant can comment on their timing at this point, if it would be, really interfere with their timing if they were able to bring back more final looking plans to the board so that they can make an action on and approve exhibits. These would be very difficult to tie in approval to, since the driveway's not in its current location, the siding's changing. It would the shutters are no longer there. I guess it would be this is a really great introduction from the applicant. They just moved in, they're remodeling the house, they're bringing value to the neighborhood. I was kind of actually thinking this could have been a study session item rather than an up for action, but we always put it on for action so it's publicized that way, and it wouldn't hamper you from taking action if you so choose. But at the same time, if you feel like you need more time, I'd like the applicant to comment on their own timing to bring it back next month for final approval, if that's the will of the board.
Well, I understand we only meet once a month, and I would love to have this done within that timeline. I understand the sketch is rough compared to a full set of architectural drawings. My original intention was going to put a front entrance garage door on this, but I felt like it wasn't the correct elevation for the neighborhood. I really want to see that stretched out ranch feel to it. And yes, the hardscape plans, the landscape, the driveway, it is kind of secondary on my list, to be honest with you. Trying to complete this so it's safe. We can actually utilize the garage for materials and vehicles and complete our interior remodel so we can move into the property. And then subsequently we can complete the landscaping and some of the other hardscape improvements.
John, what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, I would like to see, I'm with Jason. I'd like to see these plans a little bit more completed, but I would also go as a compromise to turn around and say, Pam, you know what we're looking for. We're looking for slump block. We're looking for driveway clarification, and just a little added detail. I would say let's go ahead and tentatively approve it, or shelve it with, and let Pam do this as over the counter.
Yeah, or Pam and Jason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of putting it off a whole 30 days, give them a week or 2 weeks and let Eric resubmit or submit something that it has a little bit more clarification than a drawing like this with a bunch of scribbles all over it.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's a concept illustration.
Yes.
Thank you, Jason, for that.
I was looking for the words. Thanks.
Take it. It's okay.
We're getting there. I guess I appreciate that. I do believe that I understand where the board's going for. We're looking for continuity of material types, consistency with the original residents. What I just want to make sure is that we understand my biggest concern right now would be if there were significant phase separations where we ended up with the driveway up to the house for 12 months and we were to receive any complaints from the neighborhood that this is kind of like a work in progress. It seems like you're going to town on it really fast, but you might want to just put some language in there that says, you know, that within, I don't know, a certain time frame, or that it'll need to come back to the board if staff has the ability to bring it back to the board if we're not comfortable with where it goes to in the next step.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If I am able to come up with a design, I'm okay to tear out the driveway tomorrow if that's a deal breaker here. So I'm ready to engage the services of an architect, come up with a professional rendering for an elevation, come up with a driveway design that's going to be functional and aesthetically pleasing to everybody. So I will work on all those things. And the timeline, again, for my initial budget, that wasn't on the initial budget. We're focused on interior right now, but if we need to shift gears on the exterior to push the garage forward and make you guys feel a little more comfortable with our finishes there, I will jump through those hoops, and I would appreciate any levity we could have to keep pushing forward. That's all.
I think it doesn't have to necessarily be an full architect, but a line drawing of the elevation showing the proportions of the windows in conjunction with the rest of the house. And that's helpful. And then just a notation and staff can review the color selections, but it would be nice to see like the overall front elevation as your final vision is meant. In the meantime, if you're proceeding with the slump block, and we've already agreed that it'll be painted to match, all the slump block will be painted to match the same color. So, I mean, I don't know if that helps, and I don't know if without a building permit, if you're even supposed to be constructing an exterior wall anyway. So.
Well, like I mentioned, the application is already in Mary's hands and nothing has been constructed yet. We are doing demolition. Nothing will be covered up. I'm fully aware of what inspectors' anticipations are, and Mary and I are on the same page. Please.
Okay. Well, I guess just as long as we get an elevation drawing of the front elevation at least,
okay.
And I'll leave it to staff to approve. If you see anything, you trust that if there's anything that's not that we haven't spoken about tonight, that we'll put it back on the agenda for next month.
Chair, if I may, if they could just, certainly Mr. Henning, if you could just submit just kind of a revised drawing as well as a site plan sketch of what you're going to do with the driveway, I think that would be fine. And then if staff is not comfortable with what we received, then we'll simply have to defer it back to the board for next month. But it sounds like we're working towards a solution, but I just want to put it out there that I'd like to see an elevation in the site plan for Pam and I to look at, and then go from there.
Okay.
That sounds great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. John, would you like to give a crack at a motion for any actions that you make?
Is there a motion there, Pam, or is there have we already accomplished what we want to do in making a recommendation that he bring in a more detailed plan for staff to review and either approve or move forward to the next design review board meeting.
I guess final, we just gave a basic approval of what's been started, but we need a final elevation and a final site plan. But
I'll second that.
I guess the motion is to approve the rough design, but staff is to be able to review within a week or two of a finished elevation and site plan.
Second.
Okay, any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, proceed with caution.
We do. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for getting this on tonight's calendar, and look forward to next month's meeting. There'll be more exciting things happening, but again, thank you for the cooperation, and we shall proceed.
Okay,
To clarify, Mr. Henning, are you saying next month's meeting that you're coming back? Because I think we're working with you without you having to come back.
Yes, I'm sure there'll be other things to add to the menu.
Okay.
Different shutter elevations, different roof color elevations. So yes, this will not be the first and last meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for everybody.
appreciate it. Thanks for working with us.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much. You guys have a great evening.
All right, staff report on current events.
All right, certainly. Thank you, Chair, board members. Things are slowly coming back to normal. Staff's return to City Hall. I think, was it this week, Pam, that you guys returned?
Yes, we returned Monday, but some people are still working from home. Some staff have returned and some are working from home.
Okay.
And some are doing a hybrid version of both.
Right.
So
I don't
we're still only, I'm sorry, we're still only meeting, we're mostly meeting with people only by appointment though, appointment only. And we're not taking walk-ins.
That said, I'm not sure right now for next month. I think we'll be working with the city manager and the mayor for direction on how our meetings will continue next month, if we'll be in person or continue through Zoom. I think so far it's been working well, at least for Pam and I. It's certainly a luxury to flip up an exhibit in about 5 seconds so we can all see it at the same time. Of course, we can supposedly do that in the conference room too on the television. So current events, let's see what's coming forward. Not really too much since the last time, since we just saw you guys last month. Sun Health is still pressing to come forward. They're ready to go, move forward to hearing. I think that at this time we're coordinating with them, trying to get them to public hearing at a time where we can actually meet publicly rather than through Zoom or open, have a typical open meeting. Pam and I are working on the zoning code update. I'm preparing a updated draft and revised. We're going to have a new zoning map finally for the first time in many years, I think. I don't know how many years it's been since that last one was done. So I'll have that out. I know we look technical now, so we'll have that out next week. And I'm trying to think if we've got any new projects on the horizon for the board. Do you know of any new applications, Pam, that may have rolled in? I don't know. I know the car wash pulled a permit for Dysart and Camelback, or no, they're applied for permits. We remember that?
Yes.
What's that?
How about Denny's?
Denny's, well, we're having an issue with their parking right now. Their parking stalls are slightly undersized. Some of the stalls were only 18 feet long instead of 20. So we're working with them to figure out the impacts to the site plan. They may have to do shared parking with the car wash. Right. To kind of compensate. They had a lot of parking, and our parking requirements we require a lot of parking. So we'll see where that ends up going. But the car wash immediately north of Denny's is, in for permits. So that's moving forward. So that whole center really is coming along.
Taco Bell.
And Denny's is looking to move forward really quickly once we can resolve the parking situation.
Yeah. Other than that, Taco Bell, I think has still been talked about, but I don't believe we have an application for DR. I haven't seen it, so I think they're getting ready. But I think that's it. Nothing for downtown. And again, La Loma is really the big one that's out there, and it's, you know, they have submitted some design plans for their next phase of development, but they're kind of not in conformance with the zoning they've got. They've got an issue where the proposed expansion of their campus crosses over into the residential estate zone piece. So can't do their villas in residential estate. So we're trying to figure that out now too. So that's it. That's all I've got. Do you have anything else, Pam? Anything else rolling?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Any board members have any current events?
I would just comment that it's very disappointing to hear about the cross dock approval going back to the County Board of Supervisors for the development out there at Falcon Golf Course.
Is there any way to ensure that they say that the traffic will go west to the 303? Is there any logistical way to force that, or?
I have a friend from church who lives back. He backs up. He lives in Litchfield Park, but he backs up off of Campina onto Camelback, and he said he's moving. He's not going to put up with that kind of traffic, truck traffic. And he said in the city of Litchfield Park, by moving all of the truck traffic onto Dysart, increases the truck traffic on Camelback going west of Litchfield Road. I mean east of Litchfield Road. It's a nightmare right now.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to all the truck traffic if they can't figure out a way to make it illegal for them to. But how do you do that? I mean, you can't.
What I don't understand.
You can put in giant roundabouts and make it really difficult.
What I don't understand is how they're going to do the widening of Camelback up to 6-lane Boulevard. Who's going to pay for all that? Because otherwise, it's not going to be able to handle that kind of truck traffic.
Yeah.
But greater minds than mine for sure.
Huh. So it's still not totally approved until the Board of Supervisors approves. Is that correct?
Correct. That's correct. Yes.
Right.
A recommendation back to the board was approval.
Yeah. Well, I guess you have to make a little more noise, but.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay. Any other current events? Anybody? No? Okay. Thanks a lot.
I move we adjourn.
Thank you. Got a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Bye. Oh, bye, Pooch.